George A. Anthony, George, middle initial A, last name Anthony, Anthony.
Good morning, Mr. Anthony.
Good morning.
I want to speak to you today about the date of June 24th of 2008. On that particular date, were you home in the morning of that date?
Yes.
Now, was your schedule on that date different than on a normal workday?
Yes, I had made some plans to do a couple things around the house, meet my wife to deposit a check, and go to a job interview later that afternoon.
So you weren't working your normal 3 to 11 shift on that day?
No, I had called the company I was presently working for and told them I needed the time off to take care of a personal matter.
Was that a day that you normally would have been working?
Yes.
So on the 24th, did you have occasion to attempt to do some yard maintenance work?
Yes, shortly after 10 o'clock in the morning, yes.
When you got up to prepare for that, what did you do?
Well, like any other time, I go to my side shed, which is on the south side of my home. And as I walked down towards the shed to open up the door, I found that the lock had been broken.
Please display for the witness. This will be State's Exhibit LJ for identification. I'll show it to counsel. No, I don't. Do you recognize this, Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Do you recognize this to be a diagram of your home and the surrounding property, particularly the backyard?
Yes.
And do you recognize it to be a fair and accurate depiction of the layout of your house and your yard?
Yes.
All right. Would it be helpful to you in describing to the jury sort of what happened to use this diagram to kind of explain where the shed was and various things?
Well, where I kept my lawn equipment.
Let me just stop you for a second. Would it be helpful to use this to kind of point out to the jury?
Yes.
Okay. This time you ought to move to Evidence State's Exhibit LJ.
What says the defense? Basis of objection?
Prior disclosure, I don't have any. This is the first time I've seen this, Judge.
Could we approach?
Yes.
If we need to.
You may proceed. Okay. There being no objections, it will be received in evidence as states numbered.
And I'd like to publish to the jury and allow the witness to use it to explain.
You may publish it to the jury.
All right, sir. As you're going through and telling us stuff, I want you to just kind of be able to refer to the diagram, okay?
Yes.
So you said you went out to the shed, which contains your, I guess, lawn equipment.
Lawn equipment,
Okay.
yes.
Could you just, and I think you should be able to touch the screen and make a little circle, just circle which shed that is. Okay, so that's the one at the bottom right corner of the diagram.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's just orient a couple of the things here since we've got the diagram up. There's an item up on the top right that says Playhouse. What is that?
That's Kaylee's playhouse. That's that we got for her just prior to her second birthday.
All right. And obviously there's a circular item that says pool. Is that an above ground pool?
Yes.
And the two items that are shed on the left, those are sheds holding different purposes?
The one shed we have our bicycles inside, rafts for the beach. The other one just has some other miscellaneous plant things, things for our pool. Just
all right.
miscellaneous items.
The patio that's depicted here, is that a enclosed screen patio?
It's an enclosed screen patio.
All right. So you go out to the shed to start your lawn work. What do you find?
I find that the lock had been broken off of the shed. The right side door was partially open, about 2 or 3 inches.
And what type of shed is this? Is it a wood shed, metal shed, plastic shed?
It's plastic fiberglass. Rubbermaid is the brand of it.
Okay. One of those you can like buy at Home Depot or Lowe's and
Yes.
put together. All right. So what kind of lock was on it?
Just a small, like a master key type lock, nothing extravagant at all. I just took one key to open it up.
And was the lock still on it, but was the lock itself broken, or the sort of the shed latch was broken? What was
Well,
broken?
the shed had like a 2 eyelet plastic connection that went to it, and I just slid the lock itself between it just to lock it.
Okay, sort of a hole in each door. You stick the lock through
Right.
the middle.
Yes, sir.
And was the shed part broken or the lock itself broken?
Just the shed part, just the plastic eyelet pieces were broken.
All right. So did you open the shed to see if anything, pardon me, if anything was missing?
Well, first thing I opened up the shed and looked to the right, I automatically seen the lock itself. The lock was inside of the shed, which I thought was somewhat unusual. And I just did a quick scan and seen the lawnmower was there, other tools and stuff that I'd be using, the blower, the edger, also a generator I have in there. And I looked over to my left where I kept the gas cans up above the ground, and both gas cans were gone.
Now, were any of the actual power tools missing? The lawnmowers, edgers, any of that more expensive
No,
stuff?
they were not, which I found somewhat unusual,
So just the gas cans.
just the gas cans.
Okay. So what did you do in response to that?
Well, first took a step back and just shook my head and wondered, okay, why just take the gas cans
Okay.
when there was other things more valuable to me, inside there.
Sure.
I immediately just went and I said, well, I need to make a report on this because, again, this could be conceived as hearsay, but neighbors do talk, and we know that there's been minor thefts, gas taken from vehicles, so on and so forth in the area.
All right.
So I just thought, well, I'll at least call and make a report. If the gas cans are ever found and make a description of them, I'll get them back.
All right. And did you, what agency did you call?
I called the Orange County Sheriff's Department because we're in their jurisdiction.
And approximately what time of the day would this have been?
I'm going to say it was probably close to maybe 10:30 in the morning. And I know within about 10 minutes after making the initial report, I had a deputy show up to my house.
Okay. It's just more than one deputy or just?
Just one deputy came to our front curb area. Very nice gentleman. I explained to him what happened. And he explained that there have been thefts in the neighborhood,
Okay.
things like that.
Did you make a report, fill out paperwork to make a report of the
I
theft?
finished, I filled out a report, signed it, gave a brief description of what the gas cans looked like. He said, is there a value on them? And I said, probably in the same neighborhood, maybe between gas and the gas cans replacement, maybe $50. I said, could be more, could be a little bit less, but at least that.
And did he, make an extensive investigation just for fingerprints, take DNA samples, anything like that?
No, he just said he would make the report. He would go ahead and have it available for me if I want to stop by.
Sustain.
All right. So how long was the deputy there?
5-10 minutes. It wasn't a real long report.
And did he leave you some paperwork to document that you had made the report?
Yes.
All right. So what did you do about your plan to do yard work?
Well, I sort of had to put that on hold because I knew I'd have to go out and purchase new gas cans to get the job done.
Did you actually go out and buy new gas cans at that point?
Yes, I went out and bought 2 more plastic gas cans, but I also went and alerted my next door neighbor, the Bruner residents, who just had moved in just about 3 years prior to that.
That would be Mr. Berner.
Yes,
Brian
was here
Berger.
yesterday.
All right. So did you get your lawn mowed
Pardon
that
me?
day? Did you get your lawn mowed that day?
As a matter of fact, I did not get my lawn mowed that day.
Okay. Did there come a point in time up until this point, from June 16th that we talked about previously to this date, June 24th, had you seen your daughter, Casey?
I can't remember seeing Casey come back, to our house at all. I don't remember seeing her from the last time I saw her on the 16th till the immediate report.
So on the 24th, did you see your daughter?
Yes, I did.
Approximately what time was that?
Shortly after 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Now, is that a time where on your normal schedule, you would have been already on your way to work?
Within that 2 to 2:15 time, 2:15 p.m., I would have been leaving for work, yes.
But you were there because of the interview.
Yes, because my interview wasn't until 6 p.m. that evening.
So tell us what led up to your seeing Casey.
I was just inside my living room area. I just had come home after depositing a check with my wife at our local bank, and was just sort of easing into my thought process of what I was going to be doing this interview. It was a great opportunity for me, and just trying to feel at ease for the next couple hours or so.
Sustain.
So you were in your living room.
Yes.
Okay. Just sort of put a little spot on your living room. I guess it's pretty obvious, but right there. Okay. So you're in your living room. Tell us about what happened next with you're seeing Casey.
Well, after being home just a few moments, I heard the garage door come up, and next thing I know, here's Casey coming in the house.
Now, was your car in the garage?
Yes.
All right. So you hear the door come up, and obviously your car is in there. So are you concerned at all about who's coming in the middle of the afternoon?
I was concerned because I knew it couldn't have been my wife because she'd still been working because I just had saw her previously. And
okay. So when you first see Casey, let me just clear this diagram here. When you first saw Casey, where was she? Just put a little circle on the diagram.
I first saw Casey just right near the front door area.
And she was coming in from the garage through this. What is that room between the garage and the living room?
Wherever the AC unit is at, if I'm
Right.
going to point right there, we have a little hallway that comes in from the garage.
And is that where she came through?
Yes.
Okay. Were you surprised to see her?
Yes, happy. I mean, I was glad to see my daughter. I haven't seen her for some time, and just
What was her reaction to seeing you?
somewhat of surprise on her part.
Now, pardon me. Tell me did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I did. I asked her how she was doing, what she's doing there. I asked, where's Kaylee? And she says, Dad, so I only got 10 minutes. I got to get my clothes. I got to take off and go to work. I said, oh, okay. I mean, then I did ask a little bit more about her and, schedule. I asked some of them more about Kaylee, where's she at? I haven't talked to her. We haven't seen her. Has Mom been talking to you? And she was a little evasive with me, but again, she said she had 10 minutes. I said, okay.
Did you just assume she was rushing somewhere?
She was rushing to get some clothes to go to work. And I said, okay.
Now, upon seeing Casey and upon what you told us about early in the morning, did you become to suspect that she might know something about these missing gas cans?
I have felt on different occasions that the gas cans or gas has been used without my knowledge from different times. And I was always just wondering, it just doesn't evaporate that quickly, especially when it's a concealed area that I have it in and locked and things like that. I did ask Casey about it.
Okay.
And she said, Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. And I says, well, it's really wild. As I said, I go to mow the grass this morning, and I said, I don't have any gas for the lawnmower and for the edger and stuff. She says, oh, Dad, she says, I don't know what to tell you. I said, okay. And I sort of just let it go for a moment. But then again, I've seen some indication on her car where there were like spill marks and stuff like that whenever.
You talk about in the past.
In the past, yes.
Okay.
And I've seen spill marks on the particular Sunfire she has.
Well, I don't want to go too deep into why you were suspicious. The question, I guess the point was that you thought maybe she had taken the gas.
Yes.
All right. So what did you do in an effort to investigate that?
Well, I just wanted to, I guess, maybe conduct my own little, I'm going to say the word investigate. I just wanted to question her a little bit more about some things. So I decided, well, I was planning on that weekend changing the oil in my wife's car, rotating the tires. I do that stuff at our home. And inside of Casey's car and my wife's vehicle, I have these little metal triangular things that you support with your tires with when you jack your car up that the car doesn't move. Well,
Sort of
Casey
like-
had one, and I put it back there, so I knew it should be there. And
Like
I
something to
wanted-
keep the car from sliding back while you're working
Yes.
on it? Okay.
So I inquired about going out and get it. I said, Casey, I said, I need to get something out of your car. Her conversation to me was, what do you want to get out of the car? I said, I said that little metal type block, that little triangular block. I said, I need that, again, like I said, to work on her mother's car for the weekend. Dad, I'll get it for you. I said, no, Casey, I know where it's at. I got an extra key. I'll just go out and get it.
So you had a key to her car.
Right. We've always kept at least 2 or 3 extra keys for each one of our vehicles in case we get locked out.
So you could have gone out and opened the trunk while she was getting ready or
Yes.
whatever. Okay.
So after just maybe a little bit of back and forth, talk here and there, I mean, it was very cordial, very nice. As I'm starting to walk down our little hallway to go out through the garage because the garage door is open, Casey just brushes past me very quickly, says, Dad, I'll get it. I'll get it out of the car. Says, Casey, I'm capable of going out and get it. So as she almost nearly runs to the back of her car, and I'm walking, just thinking, okay, here we go. A little funny time here between her and I. As I get towards the end of the car, right at the passenger rear, just where the taillight and stuff is at, Casey opens up the trunk, throws the trunk open, reaches in and grabs the gas cans. She said, I hate to say this, here's your fucking gas cans, and places them down on the ground and slams her trunk. I didn't know what to say at first. And I said, why? She says, I needed them. I've had
Judge,
over. Dad, I needed them. I've been having problems with the car, so on and so forth. I said, this makes no sense to me. She says, well, I've been taking a trip. She said, I've been needing I run low on fuel. I don't have money or this. And I said, whatever the reason is, I said, I don't want to get upset any more than I already am. I said, and you don't need to get upset before I go into work. I says, we'll talk later. So I picked up the gas cans and I went in to where my garage door was and I just set them on our little freezer that we had and just told Casey, I said, listen, we'll talk later. Cause I was just, I don't know, I guess the word mortified, I guess could be, is like, I know in the past they had been missing or used. And now finally when I caught her with them.
Well, let me stop you because I don't want to go too far into the past. Suffice it to say, you were a little annoyed
Yes.
about this. Okay. As the car, her car, was it in your garage or was it on the driveway?
Is in a driveway parked about right in the middle of the drive itself.
Now, when she opened the trunk, did you look in the trunk?
Never had a chance to.
Now, when you were standing there at the trunk, did you smell anything unusual?
The only smell that I had was the smell of gas from these gas cans. That's the only thing I had at the time.
Okay, that's one thing you remember?
Yes.
All right. All right, so you got your gas cans back. What did Casey do then?
She abruptly got into her car, backed out of the driveway, and I didn't see her again.
Now, during any of these conversations with Casey, did you mention to her that you had called the police?
I had told her about that I had made a report, and she said, well, yeah, she says, I talked to Mom. Mom knows about it. Okay, Mom knows about it.
Had you told your wife during the interim hours about the gas cans and the police report and all
Well,
that?
right after I'd made the report with the sheriff's department, I called Cindy briefly, and I just it sort of made her chuckle for a second and made me sort of chuckle. I said, guess what? I said, someone broke into our shed and took our gas cans.
Okay. You said somebody broke in and you told her about the break-in.
Yes, I told Cindy about that, yes.
All right. Now, let me just. Okay, could I have State's Exhibit 8J, please? Now, sir, would you look at State's Exhibit AJ? Let me get rid of the annotation here. Is that one of the gas cans that we've been talking about here?
Yes,
And it's an older metal gas can.
yes.
How long have you had it?
25 years at least that I've had it for quite some time.
Now, in this photograph, it has a piece of duct tape over over a portion of it. Do you see that?
Yes,
Now, was it your habit to place a piece of duct tape on this can for some reason?
the only reason that piece of duct tape is on there is because the plastic cap, it's a vent cap that is generally on any type of gas can or something like that to vent when you're pouring it out, was gone. When Casey brought those back to me, brought this one and the other smaller one back to me, it was gone. So I did place that particular one back on there because I didn't want a gas smell out in the shed or inside the house.
All right. May I have states AK? And you see States Exhibit AK, which is being shown to you. It's a photograph taken at a later time, obviously, but is that the other gas can we're talking about?
Yes, it is.
All right. Could I have a States Exhibit? Let's see. Yes, States Exhibit D, please. Looking at States Exhibit D, do you recognize this as a photograph? Do you recognize what this is a photograph of?
That is our Pontiac Sunfire.
Now, when you say ours, clarify its legal ownership for us for a moment.
The Pontiac Sunfire is in my name and my wife's name. We have title to the vehicle.
And at the particular time that we're speaking of, which is June 24th, whose car was this as far as use and possession?
Was Casey's car.
No further questions.
Cross-examination?
Judge, we would request the morning recess at this time. If that's possible.
Okay. We will take a 15-minute recess at this time to 10 minutes past the hour.
You testified under direct examination that you knew Casey would take gas from the gas cans.
I had suspected that in the past, yes.
And you had actually caught her and confronted her about it previously.
We had a discussion about it, yes.
And in fact, you told her, if you need gas, I'll give you $10 for it. Don't take gas from my gas cans.
Yes,
And it would upset you that Casey would take gas from the gas cans prior to this ever happening.
yes,
Now, on June 24th, you haven't seen your granddaughter for 9 days,
yes,
and you lived with her all her life, rather.
yes,
Never went 24 hours without seeing her.
that, yes,
And on June 24th,
Okay, let's go off the record for a second and see what's going on.
thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Anthony, you stated the last time you saw your granddaughter was on June 16th, correct?
correct,
And on June 24th, you called the police.
yes,
And you called the police to report gas cans missing.
yes,
not your granddaughter missing.
Correct?
Is that a yes, sir?
My granddaughter was not missing at that time.
My question to you is, not your granddaughter missing. Is that correct?
Asked and answered.
Overruled.
My granddaughter was not missing at that time.
I didn't
to my
ask you
knowledge.
that, sir. I asked you whether that you didn't call the police to report your granddaughter was missing on June 24th. Did you, sir?
I didn't call about my granddaughter being missing on the 24th of June.
So
I
the
called
answer
a
is,
reference to a gas cans being taken from my shed.
so the answer is yes.
Yes,
Now, when you had the police officer there and you were talking about these gas cans, did you tell this police officer, my granddaughter's missing?
no,
Did you tell him, you know, my daughter has been basically not telling me the truth as to where she is?
Objection, argumentative, assumes facts that are not in evidence.
Overruled at this point, Mr. Ashton.
Did you tell that to the deputy when he arrived?
no,
Did you tell the deputy, even though I'm reporting these gas cans missing, my daughter has been taking gas in the past?
no,
Did you tell the police officer, I even confronted my daughter about taking gas in the past?
no,
Did you call your daughter and ask her, hey, did you take gas?
no,
You didn't do any of those things.
did not.
Instead, you picked up the phone and called the police.
Yes,
Now, this alleged argument that you had with her, you stated that she basically came in, was in a hurry,
yes,
and she told you she had to go to work.
yes,
And you told her you needed to get something out of her trunk.
yes,
And she didn't want you near her trunk.
yes,
And she opened the trunk,
yes,
and you didn't smell anything.
yes, didn't smell anything.
And and you said, I hate to say this, here's your fucking gas cans. You said that, right?
That's what she said to me.
But that's what you testified to.
Yes,
Now, when she gave you these gas cans, they did not have any duct tape on it, did they?
had no duct tape whatsoever.
And before that, actually, you could see in her trunk, could you not?
I could not.
I'd like to refer counsel to Bates, page 7921.
Could I have the date of the statement?
July 30th, 2000. Sorry.
I'm gonna remind you one more time. When you speak, speak into a microphone. Walking around and talking, the court reporter cannot hear you. So if you're not at the podium, you're not with a microphone on, do not speak. You may continue.
Yes, sir. Mr. Anthony, do you recall giving a statement to the FBI on July 30th of 2008?
I don't remember the exact date, but I talked to the FBI and
You talked
numerous
to
times.
an agent, Scott Boland. Do you remember speaking to Agent
I remember who Scott Boland is, yes.
And do you recall that they videotaped you?
I'm sure we were videotaped numerous times, yes.
And page 44, line 21 and 22.
Find it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
May proceed.
When Agent Scott, do you recall Agent Scott Bowling saying, okay, when she popped the trunk, were you back at the back of the car? And you answered, yeah, there was definitely, I could see clothes back there. Do you recall making that statement, sir?
I don't recall making that statement, but presumably, I guess I did if it's written down there in written word.
So your testimony under direct examination that you couldn't see what was in the trunk of the car was not true, sir.
Objection.
Overruled.
You may answer.
I don't recall exactly if I saw clothes in their car or not. I was at the passenger rear corner of the car when Casey pulled the gas cans out.
You know that the trunk of this car is an issue in this case, do you not, sir?
Absolutely, I know that.
And you know by coming and testifying for the prosecution that you couldn't see in the trunk of the car would give the impression that you weren't close enough to smell it.
Objection.
Don't you, sir?
Argumentative.
Sustain as to that question.
If you testified, sir, under direct that, well, strike that. Mr. Anthony, you actually were close enough to smell the trunk of that car, were you not?
The only smell that I had was of smell of gas cans when they're placed on the ground in front of me.
And you did not smell any smell of human decomposition on June 24th of 2008 in the trunk of your daughter's car?
Did not.
Now, you just testified that when Casey gave you the gas cans, it did not have duct tape on it, correct?
If you're, which one are you talking about, sir? There's two of them.
When she said, here's your fucking gas cans, it did not have duct tape on it.
Which one are you referring to?
Neither. Neither one of the gas cans had duct tape on it.
Again, you're not being specific with me. I'm not trying to be argumentative, sir. You're not being specific with me.
Right. Can you see on your screen
Yes.
that gas can?
Yes, sir. And if you would describe that as being one that was a cylinder shape,
Right.
I would agree with you. We wouldn't have had this little
Okay.
moment.
Is that clear enough for you?
Yes, sir.
That did not have duct tape on it, did it not?
When my daughter gave it back to me that day on the 24th outside in our garage, our driveway area, it did not have a piece of duct tape on it.
And we're clear about that.
Yes.
Crystal clear.
Objection. Argumentative, asked and answered.
Sustain.
Now, Mr. Anthony, this photograph was taken by law enforcement, was it not?
Yes.
Okay. Now, she gave this gas can back to you on the 24th, right?
Yes.
Now, the reason you call the police is because you had to mow your lawn
Yes.
and there was no gas.
Yes.
And between the 24th of June and August 1st, you had to cut your grass.
Probably did.
In fact, you're pretty religious about it. You cut your grass every week.
Could. Not every week, every other week, every 10 days. It just depends.
Referring to the deposition, Mr. Anthony's deposition. August 5th, 2009, council? Okay. Page 199, lines 14 through 17. Mr. Anthony, do you recall making this?
Your Honor, if I may just
Yes.
have a moment to look at it?
Sure.
Just a
Thank you.
second.
May I continue, Your Honor?
What
I would
page?
object.
Page
Just a
199.
second. What page?
Page 199.
Line what?
Lines 12 through 17.
Just a second. Okay,
Mr. Anthony,
what's the objection?
It does not qualify as an inconsistent statement.
12 through 17?
yes, sir.
Okay, let's approach the bench. You may proceed.
Mr. Anthony, you try to mow your lawn every week or at least every 10 days, do you not?
Yes,
And in fact, during that time period from June 24th to August 1st, you did mow your lawn.
I'll have to maybe agree or not agree with that. I'm not really sure. I don't write that stuff down on the calendar.
How many days is from, now, on June 24th, your lawn needed mowing, did it not?
Yes,
And that's why you were out looking for the gas cans. That's something funny, sir.
your question is sort of funny to me. I mean, to have my mower run, it has to run on gas. So I'm just sort of just chuckling a moment about that. But yes, I'll agree. Yes, I mowed the grass. I wanted to mow the grass that day. I didn't have fuel for the lawnmower to mow it with.
So you mowed your lawn, obviously the grass was high on June 24th, enough to need mowing.
Yes,
And between June 24th and August 1st, that's 6-7 weeks, right?
no, sir. It's only a few days.
You forget the month of July?
No, starting it from month of July. You said weeks, sir, and first you brought it up to August 1st. It's a month, maybe 5 weeks. I'm sure I cut the yard sometime in July, end of June.
May I ask the witness to stand down, Your Honor?
Witness may stand down. Okay. Make sure there's a break between the question and the answer, and make sure that the answer, the court reporter can hear it. Please face the court reporter when talking.
Your Honor, could I ask Mr. Bias to just step to the side so that I can see what's being?
So you can see.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can you please put down the date that you last saw Katie? Can you please mark the day you needed to cut your grass? And then can you please put police report on the 24th, the same day? Can you please mark the date you informed law enforcement of this gas can incident with your daughter?
Your Honor, council has placed the July over the June, so we can't mark the June date because the July is up.
No, it's already been marked. For when you-
I apologize, maybe I'm missing the question. The question was the date you informed law enforcement, which was, you just testified to June.
After your daughter, can you put down the date your daughter, I'm sorry, your granddaughter was reported missing? Can you put down the date you told law enforcement about this argument you had with Casey over the trunk and the gas cans?
I don't know when I had given that information. I
Did
don't
they
know.
confiscate the gas cans immediately after you told them?
You have to come up with the dates, sir. I have no idea.
On August 1st, 2008, did law enforcement collect gas cans from your home?
If I might look at that photo, I can probably give you a
Yes, go
better
ahead.
idea.
Yes, sir. If that refreshes your recollection, go ahead.
That photograph shows that cylinder gas can on August 1st.
And on August, did you go with law enforcement to your home to collect the gas cans?
A second time I did, on another particular date. I'm not sure
When
that
you,
was.
when you told law enforcement of this argument, when was that?
I have no idea. I have no idea when we first discussed that. I don't have it. I'm not a human calendar. I don't have anything in front of me to show me. You might have that information or the state might. I'm not trying to be argumentative, sir, but you're throwing stuff all over the place there.
On August 1st, July 30th, did you tell the FBI when you met with them about this incident with your daughter?
That's a possibility. I don't have the records in front of me. I don't have any indication of what I said at those different times.
I'll take that for you. If you have a seat, I'll get you that. It is. I'm not, Judge.
Okay. You may.
Showing you, Mr. Anthony, your statement given to the FBI on July 31st. Can you turn to page 43? I'm sorry. I would direct you to lines 21 through 25.
Okay.
Having read that, does that refresh your recollection?
Objection, Your Honor, as to what?
As to you telling law enforcement about this incident?
I don't believe he's indicated a failure of recollection. I'm sorry, speaking objection. I have an objection. I would need to explain to the bench.
let me try and.
Rephrase the question.
To move this along. Mr. Anthony, do you recall telling anyone about this gas can incident before July 31st, 2008?
Yes, because I made a report on the 24th of June.
Let me rephrase that. Since Kaylee was reported missing, did you make any statements to law enforcement prior to July 31st, 2008?
You're trying to confuse me here. Yes, you are, sir.
No, sir, I'm not.
We're talking about a gas can, you're talking about my granddaughter. So be specific with one or the other, sir, and then I'll be more than glad to get through this with you.
I'll rephrase the question.
Thank you.
You need to go to the microphone if you're going to ask them questions.
From July 15th, 2008, that was the day you reported your granddaughter missing, right? She was reported missing on that day.
Yes.
And this statement was on July 31st, 2008. Do you recall making any statements about the argument with Casey prior to that?
If you're talking about what's here in the printed word about the gas cans,
That's what I'm referring to. Yes, sir. This alleged argument that you just finished testifying about for almost an hour, did you tell anybody about that before July 31st?
I'm not sure when this was exactly done, sir. I'm not sure when this deposition was taken through. You have to be specific with me, sir. Give me a date, and I'll answer.
I'm giving you a date, but
No, sir, you are
Listen to
badgering me. You're trying to get me upset, sir.
listen to my
No, wait. Mr. Anthony, did you finish answering the question, sir?
Yes, Judge, I did.
Okay, question.
Did you give law enforcement or tell anyone in law enforcement about this alleged argument before July 31st, 2008? Do you recall?
If I may answer your question as politely as I possibly can, according to what I can see here, I did give information about the gas can and about having an argument with my daughter on the 31st of July. It's right here in printed word, sir. It's right here.
Okay. Can you come please and write down the day you explained the arguments?
Remain seated, sir. Now, do you have something to ask, Mr. Baez?
Yes, sir. May the witness stand up.
Witness may stand down.
Can you please mark on July 31st argument or date of reporting argument, please? Can you please put a 1 next to the 31st so we know that that's August 1st, Friday? Little box. Thank you. Have a seat. No, sir, from June 24th to August 1st, when the gas cans were collected, did you mow your lawn?
Yes, I'd purchased some other gas cans along the way.
Did you use those gas cans? Put gas in?
No, I did not.
Are you certain?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give myself probably a 9.9.
Okay. And since you didn't use them, you probably didn't put any duct tape on that gas can since you mowed your lawn from the 24th to August 1st, right?
I just answered your question. I purchased other gas cans. I don't believe I used them after that.
So you wouldn't have probably put a piece of duct tape on that gas can.
Objection to speculation.
Overruled. Ask the question, sir.
If I can reiterate here, this piece of tape that's on this can right now, I'm probably the one to put that on there prior to it being taken, because the simple fact is, I'm going to get very technical here for you. Whenever you have gas inside of a can and it gets a very fumy type thing, it could explode. So I probably put that in there when I set it aside. I'm just speculating probably what I did. You're going in an area, sir, that my life and my wife's wife.
Judge, I'm going to object to this narration and ask that it be stricken.
Overruled.
Mr. Anthony,
Your Honor, may the witness
Finish answering the question, sir.
My life and my wife's life, when this started for us, we were running on fumes, going day by day, just trying to find my granddaughter. And some of these things that you're asking me to be specific on, I'm trying to do the best I can. Is there some things that I might not remember exactly? I think that happens to anyone. But when you get into this thing with you and I, sir, you're going off in a way to get me more upset, and I don't think that's fair. I'm just asking you, treat me with a little bit of respect and you'll get respect back. That's all I'm asking.
Mr. Anthony, would you like to answer my question now?
objection to counsel's commentary.
Sustain.
Would you
Next
like
que- Next question.
Do you remember my question, sir?
No, sir, I do not.
Can, Your Honor, may I ask the court reporter read back the question to the witness?
Court reporter may read the question back.
Question, so you wouldn't have probably put a piece of duct tape on that gas can?
And your answer to that question, sir?
To store that gas can in my shed after receiving it back, I would have put a small piece of duct tape on it to cover that vent hole so it wouldn't have a fumy smell inside of my shed.
And you just testified a moment ago that you put that piece of duct tape on that can, did you not?
I'm presumed that I'm the one to put that on there.
Deposition page 160, line 11 and 12. May I proceed, Your Honor?
Just a second.
Sure. Do you recall giving a deposition on this case, sir?
I've given numerous depositions on this case.
On August 5th, 2009.
Can you give me a location where this was held?
At the state attorney's office.
Yes, I remember that.
I was present.
Yes,
Mr. Ashton was present.
yes.
Your attorney, Brad Conway, was present.
Yes?
You took an oath
Yes?
to tell the truth,
Yes.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Objection. Argumentative and editorial commentary. Like
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
You took an oath to tell the truth, sir.
Yes.
And do you recall being asked a question by Mr. Ashton? Now, the gas can appears to have a piece of duct tape on it. Do you recognize that? And do you recall giving the following answer? I didn't put the duct tape on there.
Okay, we can clarify this right now. This gas
My
can,
question, sir, is, do you recall making that statement?
Interrupted.
Sustained. Let him answer the question. Mr. Anthony, you may answer the question, sir.
I'm trying to clarify, this gas can was taken from my residence on 2 occasions. The second occasion that you're referring to, that it was taken, when I had seen the photograph of it, there was a larger piece of duct tape on there. I did not put that on there. If that's what you're talking about, sir.
I'm referring to this piece of duct tape in the image standing, that is right before you, sir.
But sir, this is not the one that I was shown on August 5th of 2009. This is not the photograph that I was shown.
If I can have just a moment, Judge. Page 163, lines 8 through 20. Sir, do you recall the first? Yes, sir.
All right.
Objection, Your Honor. Not an inconsistent statement.
Just a second. Mr. Baez?
It's giving the date there, Your Honor. May we approach? I
No.
think it's fairly clear.
Well, you can ask them a question about the date, but you don't need to read the deposition.
Do you recall?
Remember, this image that y'all keep referring to is not in evidence.
Yes, sir.
So it's kind of hard to question somebody about something that's not in evidence at this time.
At this time, yes, sir.
Proceed.
Mr. Anthony, were you not advised that this photograph that's in front of you was identified with the date during your deposition?
Again, sir, this particular image of this particular photo was not shown to me in your presence and in the state attorney's presence on the August 5th of 2009. This was not shown to me. There was another photograph of a gas can that could have been this one that was more filthy dirty because of because of powder from like fingerprints and stuff like that, and a larger piece of duct tape being on it. This is not the one that I was shown in August 5th, 2009. This is not it.
May I proceed, Judge?
You may proceed.
Do you recall being asked a question by Mr. Ashton? This photograph was
Objection.
taken on August
Objection.
1st.
Same objection.
May I finish the question?
Approach, folks. You may proceed.
Yes, sir. Mr. Anthony will return to this photograph at a later time.
Objection to counsel's editorial commentary.
Overrule. Let's proceed, gentlemen.
Now, Mr. Anthony, was it your testimony? Well, let me ask you this. When you gave the gas cans to the police on August 1st, did the gas cans have duct tape on it?
Again, you're asking for cans. Be specific and say a can or give me a description, sir. I'll help you any way I can.
The cylinder gas can that you've had for 20 years, that is almost a part of you. When you gave them that gas can, did it have duct tape on it?
Well, this photograph shows it for August 1st of 2008. Yes, it shows that it's on there.
So is that your testimony today, sir?
Yes.
I refer counsel to page 210. Lines 1 through 11. Now, Mr. Anthony, the can that you are looking at right now, that's the one that's 20 years old and is sort of a part of you.
Did y'all hear anything that I said at sidebar?
Yes, sir. I'll rephrase the question.
Okay. Let's take the jury out.
All rise for the jury.
Maybe seated. The can which you keep referring to as West Exhibit Number, Madam Clerk, for identification.
Your Honor.
Do not interrupt me, sir.
It's AJ for the record.
AJ?
AJ.
Okay. State's Exhibit AJ is not in evidence, as I said at the sidebar conference. Until it's in evidence, you can't question somebody about a photograph that is not in evidence. The only questions that you could talk about are foundational questions. I don't know how many times I have to tell.
Maybe I can be excused during this argument.
No. All I'm saying is move on to another area. It is not in evidence. When it goes in evidence, then you're free to question him, but the item has not been introduced. How are you going to question somebody about something that's not in evidence? You're questioning about a photograph that's not in evidence.
I would like to proffer to the court at sidebar or outside of the witness's presence how I intend on referring to this and
Sir,
how I intend on proceeding.
I am not coming to sidebar on this item now. The one thing we can do is let you proffer Mr. Lazario's testimony, since I've taken the jury out at this time. As to that, Mr. Anthony, you can step down for the moment, sir. Return, Mr. Lazario. No.
I don't believe that Mr. Lazaro is currently here. He knows to come back.
Who told him to leave? I asked that he remain outside.
Your Honor, it was requested of me if they could get an early lunch. I anticipated not needing him before the lunch hour actually started, and I
Okay.
apologize.
Let me make myself abundantly clear, folks. I asked him to remain outside. The defense had requested to proffer his testimony. So don't do it again. Yeah, Mr. George is just informing me that he left. Does the state intends to introduce this photograph? You didn't at the time.
Eventually, yes, sir. When it's properly authenticated, we have a full explanation of how it came to be. My understanding as by way of proffer is that Mr. Anthony wasn't present when this photograph was taken. So,
Mr.
yes.
Byers, you can question about cans all day long, but you cannot question him about that particular photograph, which is not in evidence. Okay, if anybody needs to take a break, you got 5 minutes to take a break. After that, we're gonna charge on through until noon. We'll be in a 5-minute recess. Okay, you may proceed, Mr. Byers.
Yes, sir. Mr. Anthony, I want to ask you a question. I want to be clear about it, so it's going to be a little bit of a long question. So this jury can be absolutely certain. The round cylinder gas can that you have had for over 20 years, when you gave it to law enforcement on August 1st, did it have a piece of duct tape on it?
Yes,
And you're 100% certain of that?
yes.
Okay. Now do you recall after your granddaughter was reported missing on the 15th? And your daughter was arrested on the 16th, correct?
Correct.
And on the 17th, a detective came back by the name of Appy Wells came to your home. Do you recall that?
Objection, proceed to the scope of direct.
Relates to the gas cans. Judge.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Sustained, that wasn't a question about a gas can,
I'm getting there.
but it wasn't a question about the gas can. Sustained.
On July 17th, 2008, did Detective Appy Wells search your shed?
I don't remember.
Do you remember Detective Appy Wells coming to your home the day after your daughter was arrested?
No, I do not.
Do you remember Detective Wells, you giving Detective Wells a tour of your backyard?
At some time, I'm sure I did. If you're asking for a specific date, I don't remember. Again, this is when everything was happening. We had so many people around us.
Do you remember if you opened the shed where these gas cans were held at any time for Detective Wells?
Not presumably him, but I know I opened the shed up within probably one of those first few days because we had the cadaver dogs at our house. We had law enforcement, media, everywhere.
That shed where these gas cans are stored, how many shovels are in there?
Objection. Exceeds the scope of direct.
The shed has been brought up, Your Honor, and discussed during direct examination. for a while.
Overruled.
How many shovels are in that shed?
3 or 4.
So you have 3 or 4 shovels in that specific shed?
Yes,
And with that these gas cans are stored in?
yes,
You also have expensive lawn equipment, right?
yes.
Mowers, weed eaters.
One mower, one, yes, I'll agree.
When you showed the shed to the detective or whomever you showed it to, did you inform them of the argument that you had with your daughter on the 24th?
I probably did share that with him. I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't recall, or you probably did? Can you give us a
I
clear
just
answer?
told you, sir, I don't remember if I did or not. There was just a lot of things that were talked about and shown.
The first night that that your granddaughter was reported missing, you spoke with detectives, did you not?
Not on the 15th, I did not. No.
You didn't speak to Detective Melich that evening or the early morning hours of the 16th?
On the 16th, I did.
And you told him about the smell of the car that evening, did you not?
Objection exceeds the scope of direct.
Sustained.
Did you tell Detective Melich about the gas cans and the argument you had where your daughter wouldn't let you near the trunk of the car when you spoke with Detective Melich that evening?
Objection, proper impeachment. I'd like to explain more to the bench.
Overruled.
I don't remember saying that to him, no.
What about the 16th? Did you talk to detectives I'm sorry, the 17th? Did you talk to detectives on that day?
I had talked to Orange County Sheriff's detectives numerous times that first week or two.
And on all of those dates, who did you tell about this argument before the 31st?
Improper impeachment, and I would like to explain to the bench.
Sustained.
Did you ever tell anyone from law enforcement prior to July 31st about the gas can fight with your daughter?
Objection, improper impeachment.
Not impeach.
I would like to.
Overruled. You can ask the question.
I probably did in some course of one of those days. Possibly I did. I don't know. I don't remember of every bit of conversation I had with law enforcement, FBI. I don't remember all those things.
So you can't recall.
Answered at least 3 times. He does not remember. He can't recall. Move to another area.
Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Anthony, you've had the opportunity to sit in the courtroom throughout all the testimony, have you not?
Yes.
In fact, you asked your lawyer to,
Mr. Byers, do not go there. Next question.
you were specifically excluded from the rule of sequestration?
Mr. Byers, approach the sidebar. You may proceed.
Judge, I have no further questions of this witness at this time.
Okay, witness may stand down. You have any redirect? Okay,
Yes,
you
sir.
may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Anthony, the gas can that Mr. Bias spent a good deal of time talking to you about that you gave to law enforcement on August 1st, did they give that back to you the very next day?
It could have been the next day or the day after. I'm not really sure, but it came back fairly quickly.
At the time in July and August of 2008, did you have any idea that that gas can had anything to do with the death of your granddaughter?
No, I did not.
In December of 2008, did its importance become clear?
Objection, Judge, this goes beyond the scope of cross-examination. We didn't discuss anything, so.
Overruled.
Could you ask
Sure.
that again, please?
In December 11th and thereafter, did the significance of that gas can become clear?
Yes.
Did you keep possession of that gas can from when they gave it back to you in August until they took it? I'm sorry, let me ask this question. Did they take it from you a second time in December?
Yes.
And did you keep that gas can in your shed along with all your other garden tools from August to December?
Yes.
When you, I'm sorry, On August 31st, when you mentioned to the FBI about this incident with the gas can, was that in the context of a several-hour interview about?
Overrule at this point. Let him finish answering the question. Mr. Anthony, do not answer the question until I instruct you to answer. You may
I'll
continue.
rephrase. Was the subject matter that the FBI talked to you about a very broad range of subject matters? Subject matters.
Is there an objection to the question as formed now?
Yes, Judge.
What is the objection?
Leading.
Overrule. You may ask the question.
Yes,
Did they ask you about everything that happened between June 16th and July 15th?
yes,
And is it in the context of that that you mentioned the incident of the 24th?
yes,
June 24th, sorry. June 24th of 2008, did you believe that your granddaughter was alive and well and being cared for by your daughter?
yes,
Did you have any reason on June 24th to suspect that your granddaughter was either dead or missing?
no,
When did you first learn that what you thought on June 24th was wrong? That in fact, she wasn't in the care of your daughter?
On June 24th, I didn't see Kaylee with Casey.
But when did you first learn that there was a possibility that on June 24th, your granddaughter was at the very least not in the care and custody of your daughter?
Through conversation I had with my daughter that someone else was watching Kaylee.
That was then.
Yes, sir.
But you still thought that your daughter was aware of where she was.
Yes,
Did you learn on July 15th that what you had thought on June 22nd, 24th was in fact not the case?
that was not the case because Kaylee wasn't with us. Kaylee wasn't at home.
I may have just a moment.
Okay, recross us to those issues and those issues alone.
You knew on June 24th that these gas cans would become an issue in this case, didn't you, sir?
Objection argumentative.
Sustained.
Not on June 24th.
Objection was sustained. Rephrase your question.
You know that these gas cans are a significant issue in this case, do you not, sir?
I do now.
And it was you who reported these gas cans missing on June 24th, knowing that your daughter had taken gas many times before,
Yes,
and knowing that you never even called your daughter to see if she had the gas cans.
Objection exceeds the scope of redirect and asked and answered.
Sustain as asked and answered.
But yet you sit here today, sir, and claim that when you reported these gas cans missing on June 24th, you had absolutely no idea that you would be reporting to the police about a piece of significant evidence in this case.
Objection argumentative, asked and answered.
Overruling and answered for the last time.
on the 24th of June, 2008, I did not know that a few weeks later that my granddaughter would be reported missing. If that's answering your question, sir, that's the best I got at the moment.
Despite that you haven't seen your granddaughter in 9 days and she lived with you every day, right, sir?
Argumentative, asked and answered.
Sustain.
I'll withdraw the question.
witness may stand down. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Yes. State may call their next witness.